Hi, my name's Jack, and I'm recording this video for Bud Morris's first story for Communication 350, Narratives and Organizations. The story that I want to tell is based in Northern California at a surf camp I used to work at Lindamar Beach in Pacifica. I worked at this camp for about 5 years. I started when I was 14 as a junior instructor, just kind of helping out around the camp, and I worked my way up until I reached the camp supervisor position, basically running the day-to-day operations and kind of acting as an intermediary between parents and the camp itself. So I had one day that kind of stands out from all the rest when I was working the last summer that I actually worked at the camp. It was a cold, crisp day. The waves were a little bit bigger than normal. There was a little bit of wind the day before, so the waves had a little more power, and the tide was pretty high, so they were breaking real close to shore, which was a little more dangerous for the kids, but it was still manageable for us, especially when the instructors are working with the kids. Day started out with the kids coming. You know, they'd come, get dropped off by their parents, and then I'd have them get in their wetsuits. And once all the kids got to camp, we would have them all come down to the beach, and we'd have a little meeting before we go into the water. This meeting, we'd have the kids stretch out, get ready for the day, and then have a little safety talk, go over the different obstacles and hazards in the water for that day. I'd have them point out the different tide that's going on that day, and also where the currents are. So these are just things that we like to get them familiar with, so they don't just have the knowledge and the skills of surfing, but they have the knowledge of the ocean as well. So once the kids were done with this, I had them go out to the water with their instructors and start surfing. Everything was kind of going as planned for probably about the first hour. There were a couple of the older kids that I was keeping my eye on because they always want to surf on their own, so they would go on the side and pretty much try to do their own thing. They never like to work with the instructors. They think they can do it by themselves. There was this one kid who, for my story, I'm going to call him Patrick. He was really kind of adamant about surfing by himself. So since the waves were a little bit more dangerous this day, I was keeping my eyes on the kids that were surfing themselves instead of with the instructors. I must have been looking away for no more than like 30 seconds because I missed the fall, but when I looked back, I saw Patrick in the water, and he didn't have his board with him, and he was kind of waving his hands and making a little bit of noise. I got my whistle, and I got the attention of the closest instructor to Patrick, and had him go help him out. So once the instructor helped Patrick get to shore, I went over and kind of tried to evaluate the situation. I asked him what was wrong. He said he got poked with his board when he fell on a wave. So I wanted to make sure there was nothing severely wrong with him, and kind of checked his vitals and asked him some questions to make sure he didn't get hit in the head. Once I realized his injury was in his leg and I saw a cut, I knew that we needed to bring him up to the beach and get him to the first aid area. So once we got him up to the surf truck, I got some scissors out and kind of cut away where the cut was in his wetsuit so I could get a peek inside and see what was going on. After I got a chance to do this, I saw that he didn't have too serious of a cut, but the fin ended up cutting through the muscle in his quadricep on his leg, and was bleeding pretty bad, but not enough to rush him to the emergency room right away. We got a little bit of the first aid equipment and kind of stopped the bleeding, and then got in touch with the local paramedics after I couldn't get a hold of his parents. So the fire truck came by, and they checked him out, got him out of his wetsuit, and brought him over to the emergency room, which was probably about 15-20 minutes away. All in all, he ended up getting about, I think, 15 stitches in his leg from the fin, and he was pretty stoked because he got a ride to the emergency room from the firemen in an ambulance. Everything worked out good. He showed up the next day to camp, didn't get to go in the water, but was a real champ about it, and it definitely reinforced my confidence in being able to run the camp, dealing with kind of emergency situations in a good manner. So, all in all, I would say what to take away from it is, even when you're faced with things that could be um, scary or dangerous, to remain calm and always be prepared and know what to do in situations like that.